Hello and welcome to another edition of The Fan and the Critic. I'm here with Paulo and we are talking about our top 10 movies of 2025. We are 3 or 4 weeks into January, so it's taken us a little bit of time, but I hope that means we've watched a few more movies than we have in previous years, and we are finally ready to talk about our top 10. So Paulo, welcome. I don't know why I'm
Thanks. It's
welcoming
been a
you. This is
while.
also your podcast.
It's okay. I'm sure it feels like it. It's not sometimes.
All right, so before we jump into our top tens, I guess a couple things I wanted to mention is just one, are there any movies that we haven't seen that we think could be on our top 10 if we did? So maybe just to call them out that we haven't excluded them because we didn't like them, we just are excluding them because we haven't seen them yet. So were there
Yeah,
any for you like that?
that's a good call out. I know two of them I think are you have watched, but two that I really wanted to watch and I never got a chance to are Eddington and Begonia. Um, and then there's two other ones, Good Boy, which I don't know if you know what that one is. It's like the horror movie told from the perspective of the dog.
I've never heard of this.
Oh, you haven't heard
Nope.
you haven't heard of that? Okay. It was like this whole it was like a Instagram post thing. Like I would just see it all the time on Instagram and like that's how it was generating hype, I guess.
So is it in like
Um
Evil Dead Cam where it's like following
I have
POV?
no idea. All I know is that it is the point of view of the dog. I think or it maybe like it just follows the dog as the main character. Maybe at certain points it's POV. I mean, it would be a huge wasted opportunity if it wasn't for a horror movie. But um, yeah, I think it's just following the dog. Um, and
There was something
I
similar to that a few years ago. I don't know if you ever saw it called A Violent Nature, where it's basically a horror movie from the perspective of the slasher, like of the villain.
no.
Which I never. It's been on my list for like 2 years now, but I have not worked up the courage to watch it because I've heard it's quite violent.
Oh, I'll probably add that one to my massive list too. But that reminds me. This complete tangent, but I think the first year that we started doing this podcast, you recommended Mother to me. I mean, not as a good movie, just like because you're curious of like what
Yeah.
I would think about it, and I still haven't seen it,
Oh, okay.
but I I still plan to. Like it's been in my head to watch. I've just never brought myself around to it, but I still actually really want to watch it. I just like number one, I think one of the big reasons I can't watch it around my wife or my daughter.
No.
Um, I know that much. I know nothing else about it, but it's still coming.
Do you know
Oh,
that scene from that movie, or do you know nothing?
I know nothing.
Oh, okay.
I know it has. I know what you've told me, which is not a lot, but like something about how the director was like super pretentious about it, and or he sounded it like it at least, and it has. I think that's pretty much it. Oh, it has something to do with like religion.
It's similar to another movie I recently recommended, which I assume is not on your top 10 this year, which is Him, which is a movie that's very interesting, but not necessarily good.
It's similar to that movie. Oh, in
In
terms
the
of like
sense of
how it is.
like you're watching it not for enjoyment, but out of just like curiosity.
Okay, well, that will be 100% true. But sorry to bring up a movie from like 10 years ago. And then the last one that I had on my list that I wasn't able to watch. This one was because I was too much of a puss, but is Bring Her Back, which was the follow up to Talk to Me. Talk to Me.
Oh, I didn't know it was a follow up.
Well, sorry, it's like the director's follow up.
Oh, okay.
I don't think there's any connection, but it's their next movie. I heard good things about it. It's a big year for horror, apparently. um, but yeah, those are my four call outs. So anyone listening, don't yell at me for not having these on my list. Um, you'll probably see them on a monthly recap at some point this year.
Yeah, the ones I haven't seen, which could be, I haven't seen Marty Supreme. As I've stated many times, I'm not a big Timothy Chalamet fan, but I'm a fan of the director. He's one of the Safdie brothers. I'll be honest, I don't, because the Safdie brothers have been partnering in most of their previous stuff, so I don't really know who did what, but I know one of the Safdies directed The Rock in The Smashing Machine, and the other one did Marty Supreme. So I guess
Mm.
I'll find out which one of them I liked. I don't know if I like it, but it's on a lot of lists. Oscar nominations were announced this morning, and it was on that a bunch of times. Not that that matters a whole lot, but and then the other one is Father, Mother, Sister, Brother. Speaking of mother, um, is a Jim Jarmusch movie. Who is the director of Ghost Dog and also that Bill Murray zombie movie from a couple of years ago that you hated.
I
Um,
was just gonna ask, yeah.
it's just a series of vignettes from what I hear, and I love his other versions of that where it's just like, hey, here's some like Coffee and Cigarettes was another version, which was just like 2 hours of like 15-minute clips of people talking, and each one has to do with coffee and cigarettes. So I don't know. I've heard not great reviews, so that might also not be on my top 10 anyway, but love the director, love the cast, so that's big on my list. Other than that, I
I
think
already
I've.
hate it.
I'm not surprised. Um, I've seen pretty much everything else, so things that are not on my list, I have intentionally excluded. And there's going to be a bunch of Best Picture nominees and big time movies that I did not include. Um, and some smaller movies that I intentionally did. So I just want to call out that I intentionally did not pick those.
I mean, I think that's the least gonna be the least surprising thing about about our top tens. I mean, in true fan fashion, I feel like my list is very basic. I'm just gonna call that out right now.
I have a few wild cards on mine. I'll say that much.
Okay.
Um, okay, and then the other thing I wanted to chat about quickly before we go into our lists is at the beginning of each year we publish our most anticipated lists, movies of the year. How do you feel that list turned out for you without going into spoilers on your list?
Yeah, so we were talking about this before we started recording, and I finally realized after 10 years that like you have been actually trying to predict what would end up on your top 10 at the end of the year when you do your most anticipated. I've just kind of been like, yeah, I feel like I'm gonna like this, and then not necessarily trying to do the same thing. Um, so I mean, it's usually movies that I do end up watching, although I think this year I've watched the most of my most anticipated. I watched 9 of the 10 this year, and I think like 5 of them are actually on my top 10, 4 or 5. So I guess I've done pretty well from that perspective. The only one that I didn't watch, I'll run through them really quick. Um, so 10 was like 10 was Tron Ares. I watched that. 9 was Fantastic Four. 8 was Nobody 2, and that was the one that I started and I just didn't care to finish, which was really sad. Jurassic World Rebirth was 7. That one was pretty bad. 6 was Thunderbolts. 5 was Wake Up Dead Man, A Knives Out Mystery. 4 was Death of a Unicorn. 3 was 28 Years Later. 2 was Warfare, and 1 was Ballerina, which was a carryover from the year before because it wasn't released.
Curious to know which ones made your list. A lot of sequels on that list there.
I know, I know.
Um,
Ballerina doesn't count as a sequel, though. I'm just gonna say that right now.
sure, known IPs, we'll say, I
Mm.
guess. Um, for my list, I feel like this is the most accurate I've been in terms of there was no like complete bombs, like things that were terrible. And I think I did a good job of predicting the best picture nominees, if nothing else, but I think many of these will not actually be on my top 10. It's basically my list that I picked is a lot of my 11 to 20. Some of them made it on my top 10. So again, I feel like I did a good job of figuring out what movies to watch, but I don't know. I don't even know if I'm trying to predict my list or if I'm just like, I don't know anymore. But I guess last question on this one. Are you going to change your approach for next year and trying to predict your top 10? Or are you going to go with your just, hey, here's what the things that are top of mind and I'm actually just most excited for?
I really think no, because I feel like for me especially, it's just way too hard to do that because
Mm,
most of the time, at the end of the year, the top like three or four on my list are movies that I wasn't expecting to like, or even in some cases I didn't even know were coming out. Um, I mean, yeah, like maybe I'll do it as like as a challenge, but I like I don't think I would have come anywhere close. I'll change it up this year. Fuck it.
yeah,
You talked me into it.
I've tried to like my recent movie watching has been about knowing as little as possible going into a movie. Like if I know I'm interested in a movie, I just don't watch a trailer. I don't want to know anything about it because I feel like once I have those expectations, it's hard to live up to expectations. Whereas you
Hmm.
go into something completely fresh and it's like, I don't know, just more refreshing. Um, which I guess I'll go into with a few of mine, but I'm still going to do my list because I love doing the research and like seeing what's coming out. But yeah, we'll see. All right.
Okay.
Any other comments before we jump into the lists?
I had a question for
Sure.
you. What you mentioned that there weren't really any bombs on your most anticipated. What was the closest thing to that?
Um,
Like, was there anything that was on your list that you absolutely hated?
so there was two that didn't come out, so I'm not going to count those because I didn't actually see them. But I would say the
Mhm.
worst thing that was on my list was probably Mickey 17, which I still generally liked. It wasn't terrible. It just like
Yeah,
didn't fit together completely. But I would say all the rest were, and I think I rated Mickey 17 like a 70 out of 100. So
I
everything
was
else
gonna
that I
say as
watched was above that.
yeah, Mickey 17 was one of your higher ratings from this year.
Yeah. But yeah, there's maybe I'll talk about a few of them after we're done. But there's a few on this list that were interesting, but just didn't quite click. Like they're good, they're well made, but it's like I just didn't feel. And that was one thing
Hmm.
when I was building my list that I think in the past I've rated based on like quality of filmmaking or try to say like, hey, this was a well made thing. Whereas this year I've picked a few things where they're definitely not as good filmmaking. Like there's not the craftsmanship, but I felt something, and so I tried
Hmm.
to reward like this made me feel I'll remember what it's about. Like I'm thinking about a movie like Sentimental Value, which is not going to be on my top 10. If you ask me in 5 years to name one scene in Sentimental Value, I will not be able to answer that. But it's nominated for Best Picture. It has like 10 nominees. Everyone's raving about. Like I love the director. I love other things that he's done, but I just like I was so bored. So I'm not gonna pick movies like that this year.
Okay, interesting.
All right, let's jump
I,
into it. You want to go first? You want me to go
okay,
first?
I'm gonna say you go first because I
Okay.
might be calling an audible here.
Okay. Oh, I have to find the full name for this movie. So my number 10, hold on,
Find the
is
full name.
a movie that you're probably not going to have heard of. It's called Listers, A Glimpse into Extreme Birdwatching. Uh,
What the?
and this is one of those where it's definitely not grand filmmaking. It's not like cinematic quality. It is a documentary about two guys who get into extreme bird watching. And they go through, so basically their challenge is there's a concept among bird watchers of a big year where you try to spot the most amount of distinct bird species in a year, and people will aim for like 800 900 in a year. And so they know nothing about it, they know nothing about birds, and they just decide they're going to commit to it, learn the culture, learn the community. There's like apps and everything, and like they deal with the people, and it's just like I've told my wife about this documentary like 3 or 4 times, even though she hasn't watched it, of just like, this is the type of hobby I would love to have as I get older, of just finding something new, getting super passionate about it, um, even though I don't give a shit about birds at all. Um, and just the way that they approach it, like, it has all those things of a documentary you want, which is it's interesting subject matter. You learn about it. You learn about the people who are making it. You're interested in their story and why they're doing it. And I just felt like it was one of those things where I got captured into it. I enjoyed the story. I love a documentary like that. So yeah, I put this one above basically all the Best Picture nominees because I very much enjoyed. And if you like random documentaries, I definitely recommend this one.
What was your big takeaway from learning about bird watching?
Probably that I would never want to actually do it, because a lot of what they do is like sitting out in a field overnight and like getting bitten by bugs and like especially hot weather. I hate humidity and hot weather, and that's where a lot of birds are.
Mm,
And that it's definitely not glam. It's not like sitting in a car with binoculars. And also like the funny part about it is that it's way too competitive. Like there's people who will just be make it their entire lifestyle and just be way like dedicate themselves to it. And that's the most fun part is like learning about the community of people more than the actual activity
yeah,
itself.
sounds like pickleball. Uh, um, well, that's that is out of left field. I was gonna talk shit, but then I remembered a few years ago you had Boys State on your top 10.
Oh yeah.
Um, and that was another one that was like a documentary, but I had never heard about it, and then I ended up watching it with my wife, and it was actually really good. So I will leave you alone for
I love
listeners.
documentaries, and I feel like the documentary quality has gone down significantly since COVID. I feel like the funding just isn't out there for people to do stuff, so it's almost like the people going rogue and doing their own thing are the better ones now.
Mm. Did you watch any other documentaries from this year?
I watched John Candy documentary, which was a very interesting subject matter, but completely soulless. Like it was made by Tom Hanks' son, Colin,
Ah,
and it just
oh,
felt
Colin.
like
I thought it.
not Chet.
I th forgot about Colin. Sorry.
Anyway, if I mean if you're interested in John Candy, my wife had never. She didn't know who he was. She thought he was just like some side character in Home Alone. So for her, it was very interesting to like learn about somebody like that. But like the
Mm,
actual, you don't get that enthusiasm that I felt in Listers.
right. Okay. That's cool.
All
Um,
right, what's your number 10?
Number 10. So I was on the verge of switching this out, and this was the last movie that I watched. I'm sorry. I was going to switch it out for the last movie that I saw this year, which was F1. Um, just because, so F1 gets an honorable mention because it's not in my top 10, but um, I was surprised at how much it made me care about Formula One racing when I typically do not give a shit at all. Um,
And we can
so
talk about it
on,
more in a few selections of mine.
oh my God, really?
Yes.
Okay, I didn't realize. I didn't even have it. I didn't even guess that it would be on your list. But anyways,
Was Listers
yeah,
on your list of guesses for me?
no, I didn't even hear about that. I didn't even know that existed. Um, but yeah, F1, like it was really good. And I left it off for Ballerina because even though it's not particularly a very well put together movie, and Anna de Armas is not even super believable as like a killer hit woman. um, it was memorable. So coming back to like some of the one thing you mentioned about sentimental value, um, and that type of movie, like Ballerina, I put this on my monthly recap when I did watch it. It had like one of the most memorable sequences near the end. Um, I can spoil it. I guess doesn't matter. It's like a flamethrower versus fire hose fight,
Hmm.
um, and they're just like using them as guns. I thought that was hilarious, and it is something that I would probably watch again, just personally knowing myself. Um, and F1 is probably not, even though it's like technically probably a better quote unquote better made movie.
I two things I appreciated about Ballerina is at least at the beginning when she was kind of fighting incompetently, it made sense for the character. And then
Yeah.
as the movie went on, she was still fighting like that, but somehow beating everyone, and I was kind of
Yeah.
confused. But if they had approached it more as like, hey, here's somebody who's not well trained, who's going to develop over time, I felt that that would have been interesting, and I thought they were going in that direction, and then they kind of didn't. Um, and then the other thing I liked was how they kind of shoehorned in John Wick. Like, I thought it was
You liked that.
I th- the fact that they did it was unnecessary. Obviously, like I don't like that, but
Hmm.
if you have to do it, the way that they did it felt okay.
I feel I'm kind of conflicted because I feel like that was probably one of the weakest plot points. It's like, okay, what of everything John Wick's been through, why do you choose Ballerina to not actually kill? Um, like it made no sense to me. I mean, obviously it it doesn't really matter story
Yeah,
wise. But that kind of took me out of it a little bit.
yeah. Again, like it doesn't make sense to bring him in, but he's just there because they have to bring him in.
Yeah, of course. Uh, yes, I get that they had to. It's just like I feel like I mean they could have done the obvious, even if they did the obvious thing and had him work with her or like save her, which I mean technically he kind of did. That would make more sense than him having a bounty on her and just not completing it because he remembers her from one time, like
Hmm.
meeting her when she was young. Like that goes against everything he's done in three other John Wick, four John Wick movies.
Four.
I don't know,
Yeah.
whatever. Anyways, I'm making too much of a deal about it. It sounds like I cared a lot about that when I don't. Um, and it's still on my top 10.
Yeah, I like the end set piece as well, like the idea of a town like that. Again, I won't go
That was
too much
cool.
into spoilers, but like, yeah, it felt like decent action set pieces. I just wish Ana de Armas knew how to fight more, because that kind of felt out of place, especially when you
Well,
compare
it's
to
weird.
John Wick. Like,
Yeah. I mean, she's capable because like in the Bond movie that she's in for like 10 minutes and
hmm
it I think it's more uh I'll say believable for lack of a better word, but I guess when it's stretched out across 2 hours, like you see chinks in the armor.
it's a good call out. I forgot she was in the Bond movies.
Yeah. That was probably her audition for Ballerina. But yeah, what is your ninth
My
movie?
number nine is Begonia, which actually is one that was on my most anticipated list. I was looking for reasons not to include this. There's a lot of things about this movie that rubbed me the wrong way, um, but the strength of it is Jesse Plemons and Emma Stone just acting really, really well. And then there's the cousin character. I'm not sure if you've seen Begonia, or is that one of the ones you said you didn't see?
That was one of the ones that I wanted to, but didn't.
There's like the side character that plays Jesse Plemons' cousins. He's like, I don't know, like on the autism spectrum somewhere, and like I think the actual actor is as well, and like he gives a really great performance that really grounds it into something that's kind of sad but also like human. And so just the three of those people just acting is really, really good.
Mm.
I think the unfortunate part of the movie is it has so much weight and expectation behind it, considering the director, considering the cast. It's like an Oscar favorite type thing. um, I probably would have enjoyed this more if this was just a small movie that came out of nowhere that was like a fun indie movie. And I don't want to penalize it too much for the expectations that I had, so I still ended up putting it on the list because it's really good. Um, I really didn't like the ending. I won't spoil the ending, but I didn't like it. But there's just a lot of good individual scenes in kind of a fun idea.
I feel like the ending could go one of two ways, and I don't want to ask you questions because
That's
I still
exactly
want to
the whole
watch it.
thing of the whole movie is it's going to go one of two ways. And then um, I saw another review where somebody said like it doesn't matter which of the two ways they went, it would have been disappointing because you're kind of
Uh,
setting up a thing where it's like you can't. So I also try not to wait too much on the endings because if you enjoy 90% of a movie, whatever, the ending is just it's wrapping up the story regardless of what it is, and it's like it had to wrap up somehow.
mhm.
So again, didn't like many things about it, but also a lot of really good stuff. So worthy of being in my ninth spot. and also partially something I was going to say before we jumped into this is probably one of the worst years for movies that I've seen in recent times. So kind of stretching the last 7 to 10 spots on my list.
Wow, that's funny because this was like the easiest to fill my top 10 for me. Um,
What was your
I
number
I
nine? Or
thought,
sorry, go ahead.
oh, I mean, we'll move on, but I was gonna say I thought you were gonna have this at three.
Oh wow.
Um, I should also say the positions of the movies that I picked for your my predicted top 10 for you, they make no sense, but um, that's where I have it. Um, uh, you think Emma Stone and Yorgos Lanthimos are just going to do movies together for the rest of their careers
I feel
and
like he's gonna
nothing else?
pull a Martin Scorsese and just like switch muses every once in a while, like how Scorsese originally had like De Niro and then he switched to DiCaprio. I feel like
Yeah,
he'll get like a good 5, 6 movies out of Emma Stone, and then maybe move on to someone else.
like a like a vampire. Um, Foreshadowing. Um, my number nine is Smile 2, um, which I mean, this happens every year. I'm gonna say it until my face turns blue, but like 10 to 10 to 8 to 10 on my list is usually like interchangeable. Um, I said it was easy to fill my list just in the sense that I was comfortable with what's here, but I didn't watch that much more than these 10 that could have been on there. So it was tough in that sense. F1 was like the one call out. So Smile 2, just because, and there's two movies like this on my list. Wait, two? Two, yeah. Two movies like this on my list where um, I gave them major points to be on my list because they were successful in scaring me. Um, and Smile, I'll say the same thing about Smile 1. Like, it was a pretty dumb concept, I thought, going into it, that turned out to actually be a solid movie. Smile 2 is just more of Smile, but a little more unhinged. And Naomi Scott, who is the main character, does really, really well, even though her job is really just kind of freak out. And have you seen Smile 2
I have not seen
or
either
Smile?
Smile 1 or 2.
Oh, okay. I mean, okay, I guess I won't spoil it, but
I'm not
it
gonna watch them,
like
so
okay. I mean, it suggests the end of the world. um, fuck it, I'll spoil the whole movie. Um, basically, the concept is like it's a demon. It like takes over someone, makes them kill themselves in front of another person, and then that person gets infected. It passes on to that next person, and so on and so on and so forth. So it keeps feeding on these people, and like as before they kill themselves, it just like torments them and makes them see things. Like Amy Scott, it made her think like she killed her mother, um, which is actually one small problem, I think, where the last third of the movie you don't really know what's real or not, which is like can be good, but then it's like watching too much CGI at some point where it's like, okay, I like, should I even care about what's happening? Because maybe it's not real. It's like the was this a dream type thing. But small gripe. And then the very end, Naomi Scott is like a huge pop star. So she's infected with the demon and then she goes out on stage and kills herself. So like everyone watching has it now. And I guess like everyone dies in 7 days and then the whole world is dead.
I guess Smile 3's got to be like a dystopian, post-apocalyptic universe. People who don't
Yeah.
watch
Well,
TV surviving.
considering that, like, I guess this was the most bold ending that they could have gone with because it kind of, unless it turns into like Smile 3, the Smile Wars, where they're like everyone's trying to, it's like this big battle where they're trying to defeat the demon because it's not, I mean, like everyone has it now. I don't know what I'm talking about. I'm sick.
Yeah, I mean, like I'm surprised to hear that ending because like it's done really well financially, and so I feel like they would want to set up for future movies. So that's kind of a bold choice. Although, um, I mean, post-apocalyptic route for that's not the worst idea.
Yeah, or they could make it like The Happening, and it's like on a large scale, everyone's just killing themselves, and people are just trying to avoid it.
So why are they smiling then? Just
Just
'cause?
does I don't think it's ever explained. It's
Okay.
just like let's make this look really creepy and have people smile weird. And then they also had, I don't know if you remember, like people sitting at baseball games
Yeah.
just like smiling.
I
I mean,
mean,
I
it's
get it,
effective
but I
because that's
felt
the
like it
only
was,
reason I know the movie. So,
yes, yeah, I was just gonna say like it's effective. I just feel like it's again really, really dumb, but good movie.
okay, my number eight, one that you've talked about already, F1. Uh, I kind of mentioned to you earlier today this was going to be my contrarian pick, which I feel like I had to replace this with a listers. I had to be more contrarian because this morning F1 got nominated for Best Picture, which I don't agree with, even though it's on my list at number eight, because it's just a movie that it feels like just a movie. Like, I don't really care about F1 that much, and actually, the things I know about F1 are the things that made me like it less because their tactics and things would not work in the real world. Um, but it felt a lot like Top Gun Maverick, which is the same director, that it had action that was interesting. I had characters that I cared about. One of my biggest gripes going into it was Brad Pitt is way too old to play a character like this, which is immediately addressed. It's his whole character is about being too old.
Yeah.
Um, but I was interested through the end. It has twists and turns of like you're not really expecting, you don't know how it's going to end, and yet it was still
See what you did there.
satisfying. I wasn't even meaning to. Um, but no, it just felt like a fun movie to sit down and watch, and like I'm not gonna praise it as like this, you know, achievement of cinema because I don't think it's that either. It's just I had fun. I'm gonna remember it, and that's about it.
Hmm. I thought you were actually going to take it off your list, so I didn't put it in my guesses because it was nominated. But you out contrarian, you reverse contrarian psychology me.
I tried not to. I tried to pick the pure like best 10 movies that I had, and not pick it for the sake of like being on the list or not. So like this
Okay.
is the same with Begonia. Like I really didn't want to have it on the list, but it I liked it better than the other stuff, so I put it there.
Hmm. Okay. It was nice seeing. Do you ever watch Ted Lasso?
No.
Oh, okay. Never mind. There's like a small side character in Ted Lasso who plays the the black driver's mom.
Okay.
Um, yeah. I, I'm not going anywhere with this. I just thought it was
Okay.
nice to see her because I really love Ted Lasso. I gave it a point for that too. That's why it's an honorable mention on mine.
All right.
Um,
What's your number eight?
my number eight is K-pop Demon Hunters.
I was curious as to whether this was going to be on your list or not.
Did okay? Did you think it was going to be there?
Um, Not that I thought seriously one way or another, but like I saw it on my list. Like I was going through my movies I watched this year, and I was like, it was farther down at like number 30 for me. Um, I've listened to the soundtrack like 700 times because my daughter plays it on loop. I don't
Yep.
even remember the movie anymore. I just remember the songs. But it's like, yeah, it has a lot of good stuff.
Yeah, I mean that is one good point about like that goes against the movie itself. I don't remember the movie a whole lot except for like a few choice parts, like the derpy cat, ghost cat, or demon cat. That was probably my favorite thing in the movie. But I do really like the songs. Not even just Golden, but I think we've established that I like musicals a lot more than you do. um, which because you don't like them at all. And yeah, also the added, just like your daughter, like Golden, my daughter refers to Golden as my song. So when she's like, play my song, it's Golden. So it means something to me. And it's just good. And I guess I give points. It's not really important, but I give points to how like much of a big thing it is. I think I read or heard something about like the main actress. She's like on the older side, but like in in Hollywood years. She's on the older side, and she was like trying to like do this for a really long time, and it's finally her big break. So that's nice. But it really just boils down to the music for me.
It's funny that you said your daughter picks her song because my daughter does that too, except she also assigns songs to us. That's my favorite. So Soda Pop is my favorite song. I don't know if I ever got a choice in that, but it's my song.
I actually don't like that one. That's the one that I don't like from that movie. And it's funny you mentioned that because that will come up later in my list.
But yeah, I actually forgot that the song's name was just Golden because my daughter keeps calling it Gibbity Gibbity Golden. Because they say we're gonna be good and be golden.
Yeah,
That it's like I
that's cute.
forget that there's an actual real song out there. Wow.
Um, yeah, I mean, what are we at? Seven?
7.
Seven. Yeah.
Um, yeah, my next two, I'm not sure how much I feel about. I feel like 1 to 4, 1 to 5 is a much more stronger part of my list, but next couple are a couple movies that again I just enjoyed. Number 7 is Black Bag, which
Ah,
is basically a very like the trailers are terrible because they set it out to be this big global spy thriller of people traversing the world. Like the story is about a husband and wife who are part of a spy agency and they're accusing each other, and maybe one of them is like stealing or not. Um, Basically, the entire thing feels like a stage play. Like it's all just a couple locations. The actual main thread of the story is a dinner party full of spies trying to like talk to each other, which is a fun and interesting concept. And then there's a whole lot of did they do it? Did they not do it? Like who's good? Who's bad? Like they go both ways with like 5 or 6 different characters. And it was one of those just like it's a real dialogue driven movie. Not a lot of action, no like exciting fight scenes. It's really just people talking and figuring each other out. And I like that type of movie, and great cast, so appreciated it.
when you say like it could have been a stage play, is it just because it's kind of like static where they're just there, they're just talking for the most part? Because
Yeah,
when I yeah, go ahead.
I was gonna say like there's like 5 or 6 different locations, so it's not like a one location movie, but it's
Yeah,
like
yeah.
they're not going inside and outside. It's like okay, now we're in this room and we're gonna stay in this room for 20 minutes type thing.
And there's like no action.
I can't remember any. There might be like one small action scene or something.
Okay. I ask just because when I get the sense that something was a stage play converted to a movie or could have been, it's like it's hard to explain. There's like a Netflix movie called Ma Rainey's Black Bottom,
Hmm.
and just the way that everyone's talking, like it's just like they're it's like they're projecting and it's like they're actually acting like they're on stage because they have to
Hmm.
say it to the whole theater. This is like drama class stuff from like high school, but it just you get the sense that people like the way that people talk is like stage talking. I thought maybe that's what you meant, but if it's more around like how it's composed or like
Yeah,
what they're actually doing in the movie.
I know what you're talking about because there's a few movies I've seen like that as well. It's not like for that reason. Like it doesn't feel like it's shot on a stage type thing. They're not projecting. It just feels like a regular movie, but it feels very. I don't want to say like claustrophobic. Like it's
Hmm.
especially because of the trailer. Like it sets it up as they're going to be traveling the world. They're going to have this great spent grand adventure, and then it's just like people sitting around a table talking at dinner. Um, which for me was a pleasant surprise because it went from generic spy action movie to, a fun little more cerebral kind of people talking to each other stuff.
Okay. That like this would probably have the opposite effect on me.
If you go
Because
in looking for like ballerina, you're not going to get it.
okay. Well, clearly not. But yeah, I had seen that I was thinking of like guessing that it would be on your top 10, but it was like just outside. And uh I had thought that oh, I don't even remember what I was gonna say. Sorry. um oh, I thought it was something like have you've seen Free Fire?
Yes.
Yeah. But it's like the complete opposite of that, where instead of all the action of Free Fire, it's just them talking.
Yes, it's actually. So I love Free Fire for very different reasons than why I like Black Bag. But that actually is like an interesting parallel that it's similar to that, where it's like small location, except yeah, just substitute guns shooting with people talking.
Okay. I it's questionably on my list to watch.
I'm not sure I would recommend it to a lot of people. Not just like you, but like it feels like the type of thing that I like that I wouldn't broadly recommend.
Yeah, which I mean, I've come to expect from you, which is fine. This is why I love you. All right. Number 7
Yep.
for me is Thunderbolts. um, I'm not going to say too much about this. I think you didn't hate this one.
No, I did not
This is
hate it.
where my list gets yeah, this is where my list gets pretty basic, but it also gets I get more comfortable with how much I like them and their position on my list. Um, Thunderbolts, I think, was a lot of fun. I liked the characters and how they just bounced off each other. I especially like Bob because I've liked him. Is it Bill? Not Bill Pullman. Bill? No, Bill's his dad.
Uh, Pullman Kid. I don't remember his first name.
Pullman, Mr. Pullman. Like the last three things that I've seen him in, I've liked. There was this. There was Top Gun. There was Bad Times at the El Royale. Um, um, yeah, it, uh, it's a Marvel movie, and I have minor gripes about the ending where they defeat the the void with the power of friendship. It's nice, but when I watch a Marvel movie, I want to see my big battle at the end. We've talked about this. Um, Although when that little girl vanished and everyone thought
Yeah.
she was dead, that was I thought that was kind of funny. Um, but yeah, that's I mean, I don't have a whole lot more to say about Thunderbolts.
I liked Thunderbolts. It's not on my list, but of the big action movies that are out this year, I liked that the ending was different and it wasn't just now there's a monster and we have to fight the monster. I didn't quite like how they wrapped it up. It felt a little too cheesy, but I liked the effort. And yeah, I like the chemistry of the group. Like, it's one of those things where if you like the characters and their chemistry, it doesn't really matter what they're doing because you're just watching them
Mhm.
interact with each other. And so I hope they keep that team together because I do like how they kind of play off each other.
Yeah. Oh, and Wyatt, what's his name? The American Captain America stand-in. Um,
Agent
what's his
USA,
name?
I forget the.
Yeah, whatever. I like him too. He, him and Bob especially, like when they bounce off each other, were really funny. And I know like it's a whole thing about like the comedy in Marvel movies now is getting like it's kind of grating on people, but this one was on the better end of that. Like especially if I compare it to something like Fantastic Four, which was on my most anticipated, that one wasn't. This is much better. I'll just leave it at that.
Okay, I was gonna say I'm gonna judge this pick based on whether Fantastic Four is upcoming in your list or not,
No,
but
it's
I
not.
definitely like this a lot more than Fantastic Four.
Oh, you thought Fantastic Four was still coming in my
I'm
list?
never sure.
It's fair enough. I don't blame you.
Okay, my number 6 was Roofman, which is the Channing Tatum movie that takes place. So the whole selling point of the trailer is that it takes place in the 90s at a Toys R Us. Very little Toys R Us that actually shows up in the movie. Maybe, like, there's some. But if you're going in looking for nostalgia, it doesn't have a lot of that, which I was hoping for as someone who grew up in the 90s and went to Toys R Us a bunch. Um, it's one of those like based on a true story, and honestly, I don't care if they embellished it a lot. Um, like whatever. I think of real life stories as more like take inspiration from something happen and do your own thing to tell a good story, kind of like Social Network. I don't care how accurate Social Network was to what's his face. but yeah, Channing Tatum does a great job. He's a very sympathetic character. It's like someone that you relate to, and they just do a lot of interesting things around like I don't want to spoil the movie too much, but like kind of real things that happen in his life, how he gets in and out of situations. And yeah, he's just an interesting character, and you kind of buy into him, and you want to support him while at the same time not condoning what he's doing. And I enjoyed it. So yeah, Roofman at number six.
I don't know a whole lot about the true story, but from what I read, it was like he was a thief and I think it's just what you said, but he was a thief and he was hiding in the roof of a Toys R Us.
Pretty much, yeah. He's not called the Roofman because he's hiding in the roof. He's called the Roofman because he breaks into McDonald's through the roof, which is why he's on the run. He's just living in like the side of a Toys R Us.
Oh, okay. Okay. Because I thought uh or was it I thought it was gonna be like just the just the short time frame ordeal where he's like hiding and on the run. So it's like showing flashbacks and like a longer time frame between like how he ended up there or how he became Roofman?
No, once he gets into the Toys R Us, he finds ways to like sneak out at night and kind of like live a real life and then come back and live in the Toys R Us. Um, so he's like, he really should stay in the Toys R Us, but he meets people and wants to go outside and putting himself at risk to do something stupid.
Oh,
So it's
okay.
like one of these things where he's like, he can't help but be a nice person, and so he puts himself at risk because he can't say no or be mean to people.
Well, okay.
So it's kind of like and he has a whole like father daughter thing which doesn't get explored a whole lot, but he's a very sympathetic person of like, oh, he has to resort to crime versus he's a bad person.
Mm, okay. Yeah, I had this one at 10 for you.
Oh, I'm
I thought you were gonna.
surprised.
Yeah, it was one of your higher ratings from the monthly recaps. The only thing was it felt, I mean, in a weird way, it wasn't super mainstream, but it was, I think it's a little more well known. So I thought it wouldn't be that high on your list.
Yeah, I was debating where to put this one because I enjoyed it, but it feels you like it's lacking something. Like it just doesn't have that weight behind it. It doesn't have like cinematic like appeal. It's just kind of a pleasant story, but
Mm.
told well enough that I kind of, you get interested, and then you Google it on Wikipedia after you look up the real story because you're interested in it type thing.
Yeah. I I'm considering, well, maybe it'll change my wife's mind about Channing Tatum. She's the way you feel about Timothy Chalamet is how she feels about Channing Tatum. I don't know why.
If you don't like Channing Tatum, this is a good movie to like him more because he does a
Oh,
great job, and he's not very annoying. He's very like nuanced and kind of behind the scenes type guy.
I feel like he's usually pretty good. I feel like he's kind of underrated. I guess people kind of are annoyed of him, or they just attach, I don't know, Magic Mike, and the bros are like, "Ew, not this guy. He dances,"
I
type
feel like
thing.
he's one of those people who's probably like a dick in real life, but just good at acting nice, or I don't know, maybe he's just got the visual appeal of being a dickhead and is actually a nice person in real life. Like, who knows?
Yeah. Uh, I read, so sorry, tangent. I I read a lot of like or I find a lot of threads on Reddit about like tell your best celebrity encounter story and like who's an asshole and who's not.
Hmm.
I mean, he hasn't shown up at all, so, but there's
For
a lot
good
of
or for
surprising
bad.
names and for good or for bad. Um, which I thought like you said he would have shown up one way or another. So the mystery is still unsolved as to whether or not Channing Tatum is nice or not.
Maybe he's just a regular dude who happens to have a six pack.
You think an actor could be a regular person? No.
Not after Magic Mike.
Okay, this is not. Moving on. Number 6 on my list is Superman. Um,
Interesting.
yeah, it just beats out Thunderbolts because of the music. Um, and when I mentioned before about how my daughter says, "Play Mommy and Daddy song." The song that plays during, is it Mr. Terrific, Terrific Man, the black guy. uh,
Mr. Terrific.
um, yes. Oh, okay. I forgot his name, but like where he's like fighting the Lex Luthor's soldiers or whatever, and that like happy song is playing. It's called 5 Years Time. Um, uh, I mean, I do this all the time. I did this. I mean, the most obvious example is the Guardians of the Galaxy Volume One soundtrack. But in movies, I'll latch on to certain songs. That was one of them. Punk Rocker by Iggy Pop was another one from this movie. So Cora, I mean my daughter, she when she says "Play Mommy and Daddy" song, it's one of those two. And we've had a number of dance parties. I know I'm not talking about the movie at all right now, but the movie is also good. I usually don't really care about Superman either. To me, Superman has always been kind of the most boring superhero in that he's just like generic superhero man. Like he's super strong and he's super fast. It's not a whole lot of like complexity, no matter how many times directors try. Um, but it was jarring and interesting to see him weak for once, and just weak, really. Yeah. But I think you mentioned something about like the side characters are the better part of the movie, and I agree. But I like the new guy as Superman.
Yeah, it's funny. I don't remember the soundtrack at all. I watched the movie. I liked it well enough. It's not on my top 10, but like I liked it. But I don't remember the soundtrack at all, so maybe I'll have to go and listen to that. But yeah, I would echo that. I like that he's almost hopelessly positive, but not to the point where he feels dumb for it. It's just like you almost kind of want to agree with him that he feels like things should be a certain way and he just kind of wants to be that positive person in the world. And it's like you can buy into that in ways that Henry Cavill you couldn't. So I hope they make more of it. I like the characters. Yeah, kind of forgettable movie for me, but I liked it well enough.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, like to Henry, I mean, as much as I love like Henry Cavill, like just seeing him as he just was like a stone. He didn't really move much, and even when he did, it's like he's so fast that he's like appearing in one spot. So it's just literally like I felt like I was watching him stand in place and talk very stoically the whole time across. I don't know how many Superman movies there were, two. Oh, and then the Batman ones and Justice League. Like, um, and like he was way too strong. It's like the opposite uh end of the spectrum from this Superman because he's just way too strong. So like they had to write in ways to just keep him out of the fight so that the Justice League wouldn't win immediately. So there was like that's why I didn't for the longest time I didn't really care about Superman aside from the fact that in general I just don't enjoy him as a superhero.
Yeah, I
But yeah.
could see this Superman being more interesting when combined with other superheroes. Like Batman and Superman in the DCEU was just like two brooding people that didn't really have much of a personality, but like you could imagine like Robert Pattinson's Batman. I don't know if they put them in the same universe or not, being like dark and brooding, and then this person being like annoyingly positive, and that being like an
That,
interesting dynamic.
yeah, actually I didn't even make that connection. That would be good. I would definitely be into that. But I mean, it's almost bordering on like the clashing, like clashing too much. Like when you had, I think Avengers, and then anytime you brought in like the Guardians of the Galaxy, you could just feel
Yeah,
their influence taking over every scene. Like, because there has to be a joke, right? Like it
yeah.
has to be funny. But yeah, I hope they do that.
I guess we'll see.
What?
I assume they're going to be making more. So,
Oh yeah, for sure. What is your
okay.
number
My number
five?
five is a movie that I was trying to find any excuse possible to not put on this list, because it annoyed me and it annoys me how much people are talking about it when I don't think it's that good. But it was genuinely better than everything else I've talked about so far, which is one battle after another.
Oh,
Um,
okay.
I assume
I thought
you
you were
had
gonna
this
say
maybe
Sinners.
higher for me, but I love Paul Thomas
No.
Anderson. I love all of his movies. I'm okay on Leonardo DiCaprio. I don't like him as a person, but he's a good enough actor. The supporting characters were all fantastic. Not just Sean Penn and Benicio del Toro, but some of the other actresses that I don't really know their names for. I think Tiana Taylor is getting some recognition and awards, but she did a great job. Um, Part of the reason why I'm so annoyed by it is a few years ago, Paul Thomas Anderson, who is the director, also made another movie which is also an adaptation of a book by Thomas Pynchon, who wrote the book that One Battle After Another is done. And so they're very similar, except that previous movie, which for some reason the title is escaping me right now, with Joaquin Phoenix, was basically just that movie but better.
Was
um,
this was one battle after another, but better?
no, no, no. The previous one was better. I felt that Joaquin Phoenix was a better version of the character that Leonardo DiCaprio was playing. And then I think it
Hmm.
was Martin Short in the previous version who was kind of a better version of what Sean Penn is, even though Sean Penn did a great job. And so in my mind, as I was watching it, I just kept comparing it to this previous movie, which I really should have remembered what the title was. Um, but it is like it's good, it's entertaining, lots of fun like individual scenes with like fun characters like it's like, oh, let's spend some time with Benicio del Toro. He's fun. There's an interesting scene, and then you go to Sean Penn, and he's an interesting, fun scene. So it was well made. It was good. It was interesting. The story is interesting to follow. Obviously, it has a lot of parallels to what's happening in the world right now, which is intentional. But in my head, it was just always a lesser version of something I've seen before.
Hmm. I I thought you were gonna have this at 9 actually,
Oh, really?
um, because it was too well known. I was reserving like the top 5 for like more movies that I'd never heard of.
Inherent Vice is the movie I'm thinking of, by the way.
Okay, I haven't seen that one either, but I was trying to watch this one. Um, I'm like 10 minutes in, um, which is like a wild 10 minutes because like I turn my head and then Sean Penn is like jerking it. Um,
You got another 2 hours and 45 minutes to go because it's a long one.
yeah, but the thing was making me curious about this. I'm perpetually online. Yeah. And I was reading something. This could just be like rage bait, but uh, people complaining about how this movie was racist or like it,
I mean, it's intentionally racist because it's making fun of the racists.
it your camera is frozen. I don't know if you can still hear me.
I can hear you.
Oh, okay. Sorry. Yeah, I don't know how much truth there is to it, obviously, because I'm like, again, 10 minutes into the movie. But it is funny because like within the first 10 minutes, Tiana Taylor is like fully like, now jerk that day. And she's like talking a certain type of way. And I was like, maybe that's fine, but I still I don't buy it.
I
But
think it'll
I
make
will.
more sense after you watch the movie because it more directly addresses that kind of as it goes on.
Okay. I'm trying to be careful not to like completely pass judgment already because I haven't seen it, but I always try to be careful with like the outrage on certain movies when I read it online. But it's have you did you like see or hear any of that? I'm assuming you didn't.
I try to just not listen to anyone on the internet anymore. So no, I think I've seen a lot of people just like commenting on individual scenes, but I hadn't heard any of that. I'm not
Oh,
surprised
okay.
by it though.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I'm not saying I take it seriously, but I was just saying it is something that has been popping up. I need to stop going on social media so much.
The other thing is like, so the book that it's based on, I think, was written in like the 90s or the 2000s, and the way that this guy writes stories, or at least because Inherent Vice is very much the same way as well, where it's like the story doesn't really matter. It's more about trying to show what a society is and how a society progresses in a certain decade. And it was written about US during Reaganism and about how society kind of progressed. But then obviously you look at what's made and it's direct parallels to things that are happening today. So I don't know how much they adapted it to specifically address things that are happening right now versus maybe this is the same
Mm.
story that was in the 80s and we just haven't progressed as a society. But I don't know much about the actual original novel.
Oh, okay. Interesting. We'll come back to it. This one is obviously going to pop up on one of my monthly recaps when I'll probably watch this in like 50 different sittings. Um, Number five, right?
Yep.
Number five, I have I put Together, um, which is a body horror movie starring Alison Brie and Dave Franco, the shorter brother.
Yep.
Um, and this was the second last movie that I watched from before recording. It is. I typically don't like body horror. I get it's the point, but I find it like I don't like being grossed out. Do you know anything about this one?
I didn't watch it. I know rough about it, but not much.
Okay. I mean, I this is one that I probably would never watch again, but I gave it points for how effective it was. Um, and it's essentially about like the couple. They're a couple in real life, but in the movie they're a couple that move out to like the countryside or like out like small town. They fall into a hole in the ground and then uh, they drink some water or they get infected with something that's literally like making them like come closer together. Like it's the end game is that they just meld into one person. So the whole movie is about them like first of all figuring out that this is happening, and then second of all, um, trying to stop it. And I think when I say it was most effective, it just like it reminded me of watching the first Smile, where I went into it thinking this is going to be kind of dumb, but it was actually sincerely creepy to where I made myself stop watching because it was getting late and I knew I was going to bed soon. Um, I gave it major points for that, and it's just like uh, some of the, I mean, obviously this is done on purpose, but some of the moments that just make you cringe. Like at the very beginning of the movie, Alison Brie like proposes to Dave Franco in front of all their friends at like a going away party, and he's like he's like hesitating, so he's clearly not wanting to say yes. And it's just that moment where everyone's like, it's just that awkward moment where everyone's just staring at them and it's silent. So stuff like that. Um, um, I will. Uh, Another example of me being online too much is that I think I read something about how they were accused of stealing this idea by some writer. I don't know. I should be careful about saying these things because I don't like, I read like snippets and then I don't read more into it.
Well,
So I'm
you're not
just
accusing, you're just
clarifying.
repeating that someone else
I'm,
accused,
I'm,
so.
yes, yes. I'm not, to be clear, I'm not saying that they stole it. I'm saying this is what they're accused of. I don't know. I think they settled. They came to a settlement. Um, but I don't know. Whatever. If it was stolen, kudos to whoever wrote it originally.
I was not interested in this movie before. I didn't know much about it, but based on your description, I now am more interested in it. The second you said body horror, I was like, oh, body horror.
I mean, it's kind of obvious as a movie. I don't think you would hate it though. Like I don't think I've really suggested anything. I haven't suggested a whole lot for you to watch, but this is one that I would suggest for you to watch if for no other reason than to see some kind of interesting body horror.
Interesting. Yeah, I didn't really like them as a couple, and so I kind of avoided it on that. I didn't really know much about the movie, so yeah, maybe I'll check it out
Yeah.
now.
Yeah, it's that's kind of weird because like I don't know why I also kind of don't like them as a couple. I used to really like Alison Brie, especially because of Community. Um, and I don't know what it is. It's just like a weird vibe that I get from both of them. I used to like Dave Franco too because of some of the comedies that he was in. It was like 20, I don't know, 21 Jump Street's a bad example. No, I mean, I guess it's a fine example. It's just, yeah, it's something, I don't know. There's like something off. But anyways, I've watched the movie.
Okay. Um, I think we're now getting into territory where we might have some overlap in our lists. I feel like we're going to have two of our top four align. Um, well, I guess we'll see what this next one, because this is one of mine that I predicted that you're going to have one. But number four for me is weapons.
Yeah.
So, the first 95% of weapons is good. The last 5% is good for very different reasons. And if you've seen the movie, you know why. I'm not going to go into it for any of those out there who want to watch it, because that ending should never be spoiled. But it's a fantastic kind of subtle horror movie that has like these sudden spikes and kind of the creepy fantastical element, really fun characters, and then just goes in directions that you are not expecting for really enjoyable reasons. But yeah, it's just like it reminded me a lot of, and this annoys me because a lot of people have started using this term elevated horror for like some older movies, but I think of movies like Midsummer or forget the other Ari Aster ones, but like there was movies like that in a certain period, and it just reminded me of like just a really good cinematic movie that happens to be a horror. It's more like suspense than horror, and so it's not like a straight up just like jump scare
Yeah.
type thing. There's like a really good story to it. So yeah, weapons I enjoyed a lot.
Yeah. I think you're thinking of Hereditary.
Hereditary, yeah, this one.
Um, yeah. But yes, I mean, I agree 100%. The only thing I disagree with is that I put weapons even higher on my list than you did. I guess I can say, right? Because we're not going to talk about it again.
Yeah, we'll get there when we get there.
I put it second on my list.
Okay, okay.
I really liked weapons, like just the fact, like it was scary, creepy. The characters were really cool. That girl, the main girl, I don't remember her name, but I remember she just started popping up out of nowhere, like everywhere. I don't remember if it was like right before or right after this movie. At least for myself, I started seeing her everywhere. Julia Garner.
Oh yeah, she was also the Silver Surfer.
Yes, yeah. It may be just those two things. But uh, yeah, I mean, like she did a really great job. I also like seeing Alden Ehrenreich in Good Things, just as justice for that Solo movie, where um, I was hoping that his career wouldn't end there.
Basically, this whole cast is like people who have been stuck in bad big movies being able to just like act well on their own, because it's all like, you know, you got Josh Brolin, who, I mean, he's been in good things too, but he's been stuck in like Marvel movies and whatnot, and it's just like, yeah, it's good to see them act.
Well, he's been in another really good movie recently, but I will not say any more about that. And are you talking about Benedict Wong too?
Benedict Wong was
He's
in
just
there.
taking shots at Marvel.
Well, the thing about like, so I think Alden Ehrenreich is one of the better versions, because he was in some good things before Solo, and I was really excited for Solo. Um, and then Solo happened and basically killed his career for a little while. So it is good that it's kind of getting back on track, because I agree, like he does some good fun stuff.
Yeah, yeah. Um, yeah, I can't say any more about weapons because this is one where I really wouldn't want to spoil it for someone who might be listening and would watch it that hasn't seen it yet.
And I went into it knowing nothing. I just know like a couple people were talking about it, so I was like, you know what? I'll just turn it on. I've never seen a trailer, didn't even see the poster for it, and that made it better.
Yeah. Well, I think the marketing for it deserves some credit too because they purposely, I mean, the only things that I saw outside of a very vague trailer, I mean, the trailer just gives you kids ran away into the night and it's creepy, which was like perfect. Like it didn't give anything away. So like I myself went into it like that as well. Um, I I might have waited longer to watch it again because I was scared. But I think I started seeing things pop up on like Instagram and it was getting harder to avoid spoilers. So that kind of like kicked me in the butt to actually watch it.
Yeah, I definitely watched it during the day as well because I thought it was going to be kind of a. I wasn't like when people were talking about it, I wasn't sure like, oh, is this the teen friendly horror movies that get like the jump scares, or is it like legitimately good? Like I had no idea, so like I ended up
Mhm.
watching it like during lunch one day.
Yeah. But it's a good mix of like creepiness that stays with you and you got to have the jump scares. But again, this is another reason why apparently like it was another a pretty good year for horror, as the horror fans say.
Yep. I feel like there's going to be one more horror movie on your list at least, but we'll see. I guess. What is your number four?
My number four is Warfare.
Okay.
Uh, I probably not. I'm guessing it's not on yours.
It was at
Um,
13 for me. It was one of those
ah,
borderline that I was considering.
yeah, that one. I mean, I take care to call it enjoyable because it's like it's probably the most miserable time, or you're watching people have the most miserable time. And that was on purpose because like they clearly wanted to make it as realistic as possible. So I got like heavy Black Hawk Down vibes if Black Hawk Down was not like Hollywoodized. Um, uh, like who's the opposite of Michael Bay? I know Michael Bay didn't do Black Hawk Down, but it's like okay, I'm not gonna make a good. I'm gonna just leave that alone. But anyways, it's very very realistic, and in a weird way, like when you try to make a horror movie very realistic, you run the risk of not making it, I mean, quote unquote, entertaining. I feel like I have to tiptoe around this because obviously watching people die in war is not a good thing. But it just kind of it was still entertaining as a movie, but it also kind of gave you appreciation of what like of the realism and what the soldiers had to do and like what they deal with. Like the first 30 to 45 minutes is them just sitting in a house like doing nothing. And they're just like bored and you feel bored, like you feel their boredom. I'm not saying that I was bored watching it. But and then it just pops off. Um, so and it like everything's really loud when they're really fighting. It just feels uncomfortable, and I felt like it was immersive in that way for me. That just made it feel like it was a really well done movie. So I was really impressed coming out of it. And
Yeah,
the sorry the
finish that.
the
Yeah.
the very beginning where they're all watching "Call on Me" by Eric Pride's the music video is probably the best opening to a movie. Um, that I've seen in a while.
Yeah, that movie is burned into me from university. I listened to that way too much for many
The
reasons.
music video.
Yeah, people kept dancing to it when I was in university. Um, but yeah, no, like the same reason why it was good was also why I had a hard time putting it on my list because it's extremely non-judgmental. It's just saying like, here's what it is, and it's not.
Mm.
You don't even know yourself whether they're saying war is bad or not. They're really just saying this is what it's like, and there's no.
Hmm.
You don't know what their mission is and like what they're really doing. It's just here's the guys, here's what happened, here's what it's like, and they're not really telling a story at all. So on one hand, that's great that someone's telling like a really non-judgmental view of war, but then it's always like, what was the point of what I just watched? Like, there's no real story, there's no real ending. It's just like, yeah, here it is. I really liked it. It was really good, very intense.
Hmm.
But yeah, not enough for me to put in my top 10, but kind of barely missed it.
Yeah, yeah. I mean that makes sense. Like there really is no story to it. I think, and I know it's cliche to say, but it's one of those things where you kind of you come to your own conclusion. Like, is this good? Is this bad? Because it's not what's happening is not necessarily something that's good or bad. Because again, you don't really know what they're doing there. But like, I mean, walking into the house of someone that's living there and keeping them kind of prisoner for the whole time throughout like firefights and stakeouts. I mean, that's kind of clearly bad. Like using the translators to go out of the building first, that's kind of bad. Although, like, again, I understand the rationale behind those things. I do not necessarily agree with them, but it just like it leaves it up to you pretty much. Um, and there's a lot of gray area, obviously. So I mean, it made me think a little bit more too than a typical war movie. Whereas like on something like Black Hawk Down, it just has the whole conversation between like the prisoner pilot and like the Somalian guy, and he's just like they're literally saying it out loud, like,
I never
"Oh,
watched
you
Black
think
Hawk Down.
you've never
I
watched
know
Black Hawk?"
it's on my
Oh my
list.
God.
I'll watch it at some point. This is a
Okay.
tangent, but this year one of the projects that I have is I use one of my sites where I get movie recommendations, and I made a list of my 25 big movies that I've never watched that I should watch, and it is on that list. So I will watch it this year, but I haven't watched it yet.
Where is it on that list? What number?
It's not number. It's just
Oh,
there's
it's just.
25 movies. Yeah, some of
Oh,
them are
okay.
movies that are not particularly good, but they're just really famous movies that I haven't seen. So
Hmm. The thing about that, sorry, I'm continuing your tangent. The thing about that sucks is like, especially if it's like an older movie that doesn't really hold up. Like it reminds me of when I watched The Shining. Like I think a few years ago, my friends would do like in October, we'll start watching random horror movies like every weekend. Obviously, this was before we had kids, but um, The Shining was one of them, and we all fell asleep. Like it was the worst experience. I'm sorry if anyone listening loves The Shining or thinks it's the greatest thing, but it was terrible.
so it's very cliche for 18-year-olds to fall in love with film and love Stanley Kubrick. I watched all Stanley Kubrick movies when I was like 18, 19 years old. I watched them once and I have not watched them since. So I love The Shining. I also love A Clockwork Orange. I love like most Kubrick movies, but I also have no idea if I watched them today if I would still enjoy them.
I would challenge you to watch The Shining again. um,
I don't think I would be bored. I think I would be like, I don't know if you ever watched Ready Player One, but there is
yes.
a scene in Ready Player One where they go into like The Shining world and they talk about it being like the scariest movie ever. It's not that scary. It's just it's a movie that happens to be a horror movie, but it's like it's Kubrick stuff. So I was confused why they were portraying it as like a horror movie when it's not really. Um, but I doubt I would be bored. I think I would still enjoy it.
Okay. Um, I think, sorry, rewinding the tangent, I think we should set a day where you watch Black Hawk Down and I watch Mother on the same day. And
Sure,
we come back to each other.
I'm down for that.
Future random episode of the podcast talking.
This is even more tangent, but one of my future ideas for a podcast episode is for us to give, because we are now at 25 years through the century, to do a hidden gems of the 21st century so far, and we give each other two or three movies to watch that we like are not well known. So maybe we'll do that at some point. Okay, sorry, where are we at? Do you have anything else to say about warfare?
No.
Okay. That was your number 4, right?
Yeah, we're at number 3.
Okay, number 3, you said you hadn't watched this yet, is Eddington.
Mm.
Really weird to have a nostalgia movie for something that is 5 years old, because Eddington takes place during COVID lockdown.
Mm-hmm.
And it was fun to reminisce about the days of lockdown. It very much captures that time of like, going to a grocery store and like, distancing and all that stuff. I would say like the first half hour of the movie is fun just on that perspective. But then the movie is an Ari Aster movie. He did Midsummer, Hereditary, and then he also did Beau is Afraid, which went very much off the deep end. I would say Eddington is right smack dab in the middle of Hereditary and Beau is Afraid, where
Whoa.
Hereditary is pretty grounded, pretty like it stays within its story, whereas Beau is Afraid just goes completely off the deep end.
Mm-hmm.
Eddington is mostly a grounded story that goes off the deep end, but just enough that it stays on the rails that it keeps you like it's a story. It stays on enough that like you can keep track of it. And I like that type of movie that feels like it's going crazy, but you can follow the thread of why and kind of what it's trying to say. So Joaquin Phoenix does a great job. Same with like Inherent Vice that I was talking about before. Like
Hmm.
he's an idiot, and you know that he's an idiot, and he plays the idiot really well. And some of the other characters, again, just kind of fit that little side character piece that they need. And so, yeah, if for those who are fans of like Hereditary and Midsummer, this is much more that than Beau is Afraid. Um, but it's really Joaquin Phoenix that kind of drives that movie.
Hmm. But it's not a horror, right? Per
It's
se.
not a horror, but
There's horror elements.
yeah, that's a good way of describing it. There's horror elements that kind of pop up here and there.
Ugh. I kind of hate that more because then it's like I'm just watching a regular movie and then something scares the shit out of me out of
I would say
nowhere.
it's less of a horror movie than Hereditary and Midsummer. Like those ones go shocking, and this one is more just. I would describe it as unexpected action will happen suddenly, but it's not
Okay,
horror. It's not like body horror stuff.
don't say anymore. This is one that I really really wanted to watch. So actually I shouldn't even be looking at the IMDb page. um, but yeah, I mean I feel like it probably would have been on my top 10. Like I'm fairly confident. I mean it's weird to say. It sounds weird to say, but um, I don't want to hear any more about it.
I don't remember a single other character that's in the movie other than Joaquin Phoenix. I'd have to look at the cast list, but yeah, I guess that goes
I
to say what drives the movie.
mm, I just know Pedro Pascal is in it. That's the only other thing I know.
Right. Okay, I do remember that now.
Okay. Okay. Enough.
We won't talk about it further. Good movie. Recommend it. We'll talk after you see it.
Okay, thank you. I put that on my prediction as number one for you.
It was for most of the year.
Um, oh, interesting. When did it come out? No, okay. We're on number three, you said?
Yep.
Yes, number three. Number three, I had Sinners.
Oh,
Um,
I thought this was going to be your number one.
no. Um,
This is my
it
number
probably
two,
gives
by
a.
the way. So both of our
Oh,
number
okay,
two were
cool.
revealed.
Okay, cool. That this works out nicely. I think it might give away what my number one is since this is number three. Uh, okay, maybe not.
I have no idea. I had like Weapons and Sinners were going to be high for you, but I can't predict what your number one is.
Oh, okay, nice. Yeah, Sinners, it's really good. I'm kind of mad at it still because of the jump scare at the very beginning of the movie. Um, but yeah, it's just like I typically don't like or care about vampires in any shape or form aside from maybe Blade. But this is probably top two of like any vampire movie I've seen. And I'm counting like 30 Days of Night as vampires. That's yeah, those are vampires, right?
Yeah, I guess technically. Speaking of Blade,
Okay.
did you know that the entire outfits of this movie were taken from a canceled Blade movie?
I think you told me this,
Mm.
but is it like actually canceled? Because it's the Mahershala Ali
Yeah,
Blade, right?
I think they're
So
gonna
it's
do something else with him, but I think that actual movie is canceled.
that makes me really sad. I mean, I know it's probably gonna suck, but I really would have loved to see Mahershala Ali as Blade. Sorry, Sinners. The music thing pops up again. Like Rocky Road to Dublin out of nowhere made it onto my Apple Music, and I listened to it like bef I don't know why every time I'm going to like play football or basketball, it's like a hype up song for me now. Um, um, and I mean, just other like aside from that, the, the story, the action was good. It was like the performances were good. The music again. Um, I don't know. Like it's tough to say because I saw it so long ago. Um, and I like I remember everything, but this might work against my ranking, but I don't like remember what else to talk about. I just remember it being really good.
Yeah, this was one I think I didn't want to have high on my list because I had such high expectations going into it. It was on my most anticipated list. I heard the reviews and like it looked amazing, and it didn't quite live up to that. Like, I don't know how to describe it, but there's just something in the story didn't quite connect full circle for me. But
Mm,
I mean, it is just a really good movie. Michael B. Jordan does an amazing job. The fact that they make those characters kind of two individual people that are doing their own thing, like it's not just like, oh, look at it's two Michael B. Jordans. It's like there's a reason for both of them. Um,
mm,
I don't remember any of the individual songs. I remember enjoying the music as I was listening to it, but none of them
mhm.
have shown up on like. Usually, I listen to a lot of soundtracks and whatnot, and none of those showed up. But I do remember like enjoying it as I was watching.
Oh, I mean, they do a whole like dance number outside the barn
Yep.
with Rocky Road to Dublin. But I mean, I'm not trying to convince you. Also, like you mentioned, like Michael B. Jordan is good in almost everything that I've seen him, but also Jack O'Connell,
Yep.
who's like the main vampire. Like he's so, I mean, I guess that's a point of a vampire. They're like charismatic. That's the whole reason why they can like uh, get you to invite them inside. That's the dumbest
I
rule.
was
Another
wondering if
reason
the
why.
Jack O'Connell connection is going to bleed over into your number one pick, but I guess we'll find out soon. But
I will
yeah,
not say.
Jack O'Connell did great. Obviously Ryan Coogler, like basically whatever story he takes on, he just tells really well. So I don't know,
Mm,
he's basically I don't know what it is, like 5 for 5 now at this point of however many movies he's made. Usually this is the point in a director's career where they do a bomb. So I'm fully expecting some type of bomb to come up next. Um, but yeah, like again, something not 100% there for me, but obviously number two on my list, so I liked it quite a lot.
okay, interesting. What like if is there anything that you can describe that made you put it over weapons?
Um, Cinematography, like just the actual
Mm,
craftsmanship of the movie. Weapons is kind
mm,
of it's almost like a schlocky. I don't want to call it a B movie, but it's just like a fun horror movie. Same with like, Roofman,
mm,
Black Bag, F1. They're not like the best made movies. Whereas Sinners, like the part of me that appreciates filmmaking, it was all there in
mm.
Sinners. Like the acting, the
Okay,
cinematography, the music, like the way it all fits together. So it's like I could appreciate the craftsmanship of it just as a movie on its own, and then yeah, it happened to be like a schlocky movie about vampires, which made it fun too.
I could see that. Yeah, that makes sense. How did you feel about that one? There's like where they were the main guy that's not Michael B. Jordan. He's like performing, and then it goes through like the timelines melt together, and then you have like different.
I might get some hate for it, but that was one of the scenes that didn't quite do it for me.
Mm,
Um, I get what they were going for, and it was a fun idea. It's just for me, and maybe it was because that was one of those scenes that a lot of people hyped, which like people
mm.
kept talking about it, and I was like, it's okay. Like I didn't hate it, I didn't dislike it, but it's just like I didn't get the hype around it.
Yeah, I mean, for me, it was like good in concept, bad and not bad in execution, but it felt a little messy. It like it just felt like those people were there were just random people in the crowd doing things like not exactly what they were trying to go for. But who am
That's what I
I?
mean. Is like it wasn't tied up 100%. There was just these little bit of loose ends. But the things that I liked about it, like they had those Cherokee vampire hunters at the beginning that just kind of built out the
Mm,
universe, and just the fact that Jack O'Connell's character was from Ireland, you could test like, okay, there's a universe of vampires here that I want to know more about. Like it almost felt like John Wick, where it's like in
mm.
John Wick, you kind of get introduced into this world, and you're like, I just want to know more about this world and how it works and what the rules are. And that's how I felt coming out of that. Of like, I wanted to, you know, take this movie and set it in another country or another time period,
Yeah.
and it would be interesting too.
Well, you got it after watching John Wick. You got it 3 more times.
Yeah, maybe they should have stopped at the one, but
Okay. Any final thoughts about Sinners?
nope. So I guess
Oh.
that's on for me for the number one then.
Yes. Although before we move on to number one,
Sure.
um, I just realized we have not spoken about him. Did you?
It's not my number one.
I figured it wouldn't be, but I think you kind of liked it. Was it
I don't
anywhere
know
near your
if I
top
said
20?
I liked it. I think I'm intrigued by it, especially as somebody who is a movie fan and a sports fan.
Hmm.
Um, I guess it doesn't really go into the sports world too much because it's almost too fantastical, but just the idea of a story around somebody who is, going through like it also felt weird that he was like the hottest draft pick coming out, but he also went to the best team. It's like little things like that about sports that was like that doesn't make sense. Um,
Yeah.
I liked the idea
Actually,
in concept. It was just super messy.
yeah. Okay. I don't want to go too much into it because I didn't like it. Um. Uh. Yeah. Do you want to? Okay. You want to just go into your?
Sure.
I was curious. I was just curious about how you felt about it because I saw the like discrepancy in our ratings. Like, um, it wasn't even particularly high for you, but you gave it a green thumbs up. So,
I feel like I recommended it to people because I wanted people to also hate it. Um, but there's a lot of parallels to F1 where it's like the more you know about the sport, the less you're going to like it because it doesn't make sense in that world.
I guess I feel like it was so far removed from anything football that it didn't even matter.
Yeah,
Um,
maybe.
it, it was just like, look at this weird thing that's happening now, and then now look at this weird thing. It's like, don't worry about the last weird thing. It was just like abstract for the sake of being abstract. I'm yeah.
Which is where Jordan Peele is kind of progressively going more and more, so I hope he kind of reins it in a little bit.
Well, he was just a producer, right? Like I didn't think he
Oh, really?
actually.
I thought he was the director.
Um,
Actually, now that you're
yeah,
saying that, that makes sense.
yeah. Um, oh, speaking of, I remember another online thing was like he really wanted to do weapons, Jordan Peele,
Oh,
or like he
really?
was trying to buy the rights to weapons, but he didn't get it, so like he fired his whole team. This like sensational headline for Instagram, but I don't know. I
I
should
thought
stop.
you
What?
were going to bring up the other article that came up about him recently where he decided that when he was going to go into directing, when he was cast as the poop emoji in the Emoji Movie, because he said, I can't do this anymore, so I got to direct.
I did not. I did not hear about that one. Surprisingly.
Okay. All right, number one. I assume if you looked at my previous rankings, you can probably guess what my number one is. This is the only movie I actually really liked this year.
Maybe.
Uh, my number one is Caught Stealing.
Oh, okay. I thought it was going to be. Oh no. Aside from Eddington, I had no other choice as number two.
No other choice was number 18 for me. It actually
Oh,
felt
okay.
really messy as well. Really liked certain things
Okay.
about it, but yeah, it was pretty far off my number 10. Um,
Okay.
Caught Stealing, also from the director of Mother. Um, so this is a director that I really liked in his early days. He did, oh, I can't remember the name of it, the Jared Leto movie about doing drugs.
Dallas Buyers Club.
Not that one.
Oh. Oh.
Requiem with the Dream, Requiem for a Dream, something like
Requiem for a Dream.
that.
Yeah.
He did a bunch of other stuff, and then he did like the Noah movie, which was Christian propaganda, and then he did Mother, which was way off the deep end. And he was married to Jennifer Lawrence at one point. I don't know if they're still married. Um,
They were married?
I, they were something at some point. And I saw this movie coming, and I was like, this director, I'm not really following him much anymore, but it's fantastic. So the story follows. Man, I really should have like picked research more names before this, but the kid who played Austin Butler, who played Elvis and was in Dune 2, who I didn't really like in those movies, but he's playing someone who used to be like a baseball star who ends up like sidetracking his career, and now he's just kind of like getting through life. And it's one of those like crime stories where he just randomly interacts with a bunch of, and the strength of the movie is side characters. There's a lot of like fun side characters that he interacts with and that he's kind of introduced to, and he like basically wrong place at the wrong time type situation
Mm.
where he's thrown into a situation and then he just kind of has to like deal with it and navigate this criminal underworld. um, the side characters are fantastic. Austin Butler does a great job. All the scenarios are fun. You never really know what's happening next. So I felt like it was one of those where I was just along for the ride. Genuinely interesting, fun movie. Definitely recommend for pretty much anyone. It would appeal to a broad audience.
Oh, okay. That was this is probably like the biggest surprise. Number 1 and 10 on your list. Because I know Caught Stealing, you mentioned you liked it, but I didn't think it was out there enough for it to be ranked too high on your list.
For me, it was the most complete movie. Like, again, most other years this probably would not be a number one. It wasn't that
Mm.
good. But, like, pretty much everything else on my list, there was something that was holding me back of just, like, it wasn't complete or it didn't tie up or there was this thing that just didn't quite connect to the thread of the movie. But, like, this is just one where I felt like they executed the movie that they wanted to make. It was completely self contained. It was, you're satisfied with the conclusion, you're satisfied with where it went, and it's just like, that's a movie.
Oh, even over Sinners and Weapons.
Yeah, Sinners and Weapons had like maybe higher highs in terms of some of the fun things that they were doing, some of the cinematography, like the ideas behind them, but they were just a little messy at times in terms of like they didn't
Mm.
quite wrap up. Whereas this one was just more consistently good. And I like at the end of Sinners or Weapons, I just felt like something's missing. Whereas this one, I was like, I'm satisfied. That story feels complete.
Wow.
Again, like
Wow.
doesn't the highs are not as high, so it doesn't have
Yeah.
like those great shots or those great moments. But like, I mean, there are some really fun moments as well. But just like the
Yeah.
story ends at a place where I felt happy with it.
I'm intrigued now because this like I didn't know anything about this movie. I didn't hear anything about it aside from like knowing that you saw it.
And no one's talked
I
about
mean,
it at all. I'm kind of surprised. Like
which
it's gotten no recognition anywhere.
yeah,
And I'm not doing that to be a contrarian. I'm not just picking a movie that no one's talking
I believe you, I
about.
guess. Okay. That one will go on my list right after my mother. Um, but yeah, I'm really curious now. It just seemed like a more like straightforward, I don't know, like action thriller or like on the run from the law or on the run from unscrupulous
Yeah, I would say like
characters.
the thing that elevates it is there's some twists and turns that kind of it's almost shocking. Like it's not the you feel like you're on the nice safe roller coaster ride, and then it's like, oh, I wasn't expecting it to take that right turn type thing. And then the side characters, like if you look at the cast of people who play like this, like some of them I actually didn't know who it was because they're so in the character until like I looked at it after, but they all nail the side character roles.
Hmm. Okay, I'll try to reduce my expectations going into it, considering everything you've been saying.
Yeah, I almost don't want to sell it too much because it is just like it's a simple on the run type movie, but
Hmm. Okay. Um, cool. Yeah, huge surprise. Oh, I also just realized he did Black Swan as well.
yep.
The director, I mean. Okay. Um,
There's
any final thoughts? Sorry.
no, I was
Go ahead.
just gonna say there's two movies that I expected to be on your list that you haven't mentioned, so I'm wondering which one it is or if there's a surprise third movie, and neither of those will be.
I think it might be a third movie, but I'm assuming 28 Years Later was one of them.
28 Years Later and Wake Up Dead Man were two that I expected to be on your list.
Wake Up Dead Man is number one.
Okay.
Yeah. 28 Years Later was good, but that one felt like it was missing something. Um, it it was it was just good. Like not enough to be 10, because I don't feel like I would want to watch it again. Um, and it was interesting. So it's like safely 11 or like solidly 11, 12. Um, but it was good enough that I still really want to watch the next one. Um,
I really want to watch the Bone Temple as well,
yeah,
which I think is out
um,
already.
it is. Yeah, which is how late we're doing this, but um, yeah. So, anyways, Knives Out. Um, it follows the same formula. As did you watch it?
Yep, yep. It was
Okay,
number 12 for me.
okay. It follows the same formula as the first two. I think it's like the strength for me personally of Knives Out is that like it's always a person who's like morally good. It's just like a good person who wins at the end because they are good. I really like that part of it, which is kind of like a um, I don't know, fluffy, feels like a fluffy thing to say, but it's nice to have that sometimes, especially having watched Warfare this year or something like that. And I like I don't not only do I like mystery movies or murder mystery type movies when they're done really well and you feel like you could have solved it from the beginning. I mean, you really couldn't. There's no way that you could, but it it is fun and it's part of the experience for me to like be guessing with my wife while we're watching it, like, oh, he did it himself, or like he's faking his own death or something like that. And on top of that, like everyone does a really good job. Like some of the characters maybe are written a little on the nose. Especially like for, it's no different from the second one where like there's clearly there's like the far right influencer, which actually there's another one. There's like in this one, but just a different kind. Um, and then there's like the I don't know. It's kind of it borders on like stereotypical characters, but they're just done so well that it doesn't matter for me. And yeah, and it was surprisingly funny because it's a lot more. It feels a lot more serious than the first two. Um, but especially Josh Brolin, he was kind of like his first confession with I forget the name of the priest, the main guy, um,
The guy
where
from
he's just talking about
Challengers.
how many. Is that the guy? Oh my God, it is the guy from Challengers.
It's
I
funny
like the movie
because
even
you
less
were
now.
mentioning Josh Brolin earlier, and I was like, what other movie did Josh Brolin did? Because you almost like lose that it's him in that role. Like he becomes the character.
Yeah, yeah. And he's like giving his confession like the first time they meet, and he already doesn't like this priest because he feels threatened. So he just like he messes with him by like just telling him about all the times that he jerked off, just to make him uncomfortable. Josh Brolin is really good at that, like those kinds of dickhead roles.
Hmm.
Um, so yeah, just is really well done. I enjoyed it. It's solid number one for me.
Yeah, I think so. I liked it more than Glass Onion, and I quite liked it. Like it barely missed my list, but I was debating like I guess I had to put Listers in instead. Um, but some of the side characters were just a little too on the nose. Like I wish they just made that a little bit more subtle. Which I think one of my issues with Ryan Johnson. I don't know if you've seen the TV show that he does with the woman from Orange Is the New Black. But it kind of gets into a routine where it's good, but it's kind of like the same template over and over again. And the mysteries themselves are very different from movie to movie, but I feel like his side characters are starting to bleed into each other a little bit. And I think that was really my only complaint because the rest of the story is great. Like I love the mystery and I love again, you feel like you could guess it, but at the same time you couldn't, but it feels like it's not just like shock for shock value. It's like there's an interesting
Hmm.
story here. Um, I feel like some of the characters were maybe a little miscast. It's almost like going for names instead of people who would fit those roles. Like Jeremy Renner and Mila Kunis for me, like I don't know, they just didn't feel like
Yeah,
they fit those roles. But everyone else was great, so it kind of makes up for it.
yeah. I mean that like I agree 100%. Like Mila Kunis, I don't know why she was cast as the police chief. Like she didn't really add anything. Jeremy Renner, I mean, as nice as it is to see him healthy and acting, um, yeah, like the troubled doctor widower was like I just didn't get that from him. Um, but like I said, like as the way it all came together, it was like good enough in such a way that I didn't care. And also that like all the characters were kind of obvious caricatures. um, yeah, I mean it was all in service of the mystery and kind of like propping up the the hero as like this really good person. So I think it worked.
Yeah, you feel like the main character, like you feel like he's very genuine, almost to the point of when he kind of like at a certain point wants to turn himself in, you almost feel like maybe he is bad and you're not quite sure about it. And like, anyway, like there's like, which is like Ryan Johnson can write those characters that are you actually have real conflict over, which is what makes it shocking when you have such on the nose stereotype of other characters.
Hmm.
Because you think back to the first Knives Out and you had Chris Evans' character who could become somewhat stereotyped, but he kind of has like a transition throughout the movie of like revealing that to you. Whereas
Mm.
like it seems like from the first second you see them, you see everything you need to know about these characters.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I mean, yeah, definitely this one and Glass Onion that like I see that those parallels. I mean, I can only hope that he pulls it back a little bit for the next one. I really do hope he doesn't make it another one. Like even if it's like I'll compare it to the Poirot murder, Death on the
Mm-hmm.
Nile,
Yeah,
those ones. Like I like those two, but these are like head and shoulders better. Um, uh, and I think the one thing that would make it better is kind of like returning to the less campy type of characters that like that he had in uh, the first Knives Out. Um, but I mean, I'm sure he's well aware. I think it's just what he's just inspired by what he's seeing in front of him, I guess, which is why he's doing those characters over and over again.
one thing I do appreciate is they kind of refuse to go into the detective's character. And I think Ryan Johnson has said his inspiration for the story is he wanted it to have the same character's name and the same actor, but to almost be as if it was a completely different character each time. And I think he's kind
Mm.
of doing it how like his look is a little bit different, his hair is a bit different, and it's almost
Hmm.
like it could be a different character. Because I didn't like where they went with some of the Poirot stuff where it started getting too much into his backstory, and I like that they keep him out of this. It's just like he's just a vessel to kind of take you through these stories.
Yeah, yeah, and like again to compare actually Benoit Blanc to Hercule
Yeah.
Poirot. Like they're both the type of detective where like they're so good that they know everything, but like for Blanc, it's a little more nuanced, and whereas like Hercule Poirot is just like he knows everything from the very beginning to the point of where he's like he just seems psychic, so it's not sometimes it's bordering on not even being fun anymore.
That
Um,
was one thing that was kind of starting to annoy me in the movie was like it almost felt like Benoit Blanc like everyone knew his reputation and it was like oh he's gonna have his grand speech at the end and it's like it'd be better if he had a less of a character.
yeah, but then in true Ryan Johnson fashion, like he
Yeah.
subverted expectations with that one. So who knows? Maybe he'll completely ruin the next one.
I feel like it's just not going to be that different and we'll all get kind of tired of it but he'll keep cranking out that similar quality decent mystery movies.
I'm with it until for now, until the end.
I mean, with the TV show he's making, he's now done 2 seasons of mysteries, and it's like, how many more mystery plots do you have? Like, you got to be just
Uh,
churning through those.
yeah, I mean, fair enough, but I'll try to be positive and optimistic to a fault.
But if you haven't watched the TV show, you definitely should. I highly recommend it.
Okay, I mean, man, TV's so tough.
It is. I don't blame you for that. All right, well, that's our lists. I resisted the urge to talk about Predator Badlands, so I'm going to just throw it in there as a random last minute because I really wanted to put it on my top 10, but it just wasn't good enough. Um, was there any honorable mentions now that we're done that you wanted to sneak in there?
No, I mean Predator Badlands. That was the animated one, right?
No, no, that's the one with Elle Fanning.
Oh, okay. I haven't even seen that one.
I
The animated one
genuinely
is a
liked it.
series. Okay.
Yeah, I did not like the animated one as much.
Yeah, I didn't even get through like the first little bit of that. Predator Badlands. Wow, so you legitimately liked it.
It's number 19, so it's not super high up, but I genuinely
Yeah.
enjoyed it. It's a fun Predator movie. It has some fun sequences, and then it has some groan-worthy moments.
It sounds like I will definitely love it. I'm sure it's on Disney Plus already.
Probably.
I'll end up watching it while washing the dishes or something. Yeah, I don't really have. I think the only call out I had was like F1, and it's not really any. Yeah, was there anything else? No, no, no. I
Frankenstein?
almost
You
put.
watch Frankenstein?
I started it, and like it's just. I got to the point where what's his name, Hans Landa, where he dies,
Yeah.
and like the lab blows up. I don't know. I don't even know how far into the movie that is, but I have not felt the need to go back and finish it.
You stopped at the point where it starts getting better. It feels like a completely different movie in the second half, but I don't blame you for stopping there because that was about the point I was going to stop to.
Man. I mean, I didn't stop because I hated it. Like, it's just I have to stop movies nowadays, like
Yeah.
for life reasons. It's just like I said, I just didn't. I moved on to something else. Like I'm watching Fallout now, um, which
Yeah,
is
I'm
really
not going
fun.
to recommend it too much because it's not the most amazing thing, but I feel like what's his face tall guy does a good job in the monster role. And also, I don't know if you've seen the trailer, but there's also a Frankenstein's Bride movie that's coming out with Christian Bale, which is a completely different movie, which is also seems really fun. But
Yeah, I don't know. I just hate like I don't hate, but I'm not moved in any way by Frankenstein, like that story. It
it's really hard to tell a story when your audience already knows the story. So,
yeah, but I mean also like the whole gothic time period type stuff where
oh,
they're
I love
talking, and
that
also
part
when
of it.
do you really?
Yeah.
I'm not into that at all. Like when Oscar, also Oscar Isaac, I feel like he does a really bad British accent.
Yeah.
Because he's doing an accent, right?
I can't remember,
Like
but yeah,
I
probably.
it sounds goofy. I like when he's talking in Frankenstein. I just feel like you're a guy acting. I don't like it.
Yeah, and same with Mia Goth. Like she's fantastic. I love her and everything, and her character is kind of bland. So there's a bunch of stuff that just kind of doesn't hit the mark, but it does some interesting stuff.
Right. I forgot she was in it.
That's
Um,
yeah, how bland her character is.
but yeah, I think that's it.
All
We
right. Well, we'll end it off there, and probably within the next couple weeks, we'll post our most anticipated movies for 2026. I've started doing some research for that, so I already have about 30 movies that I need to trim down.
holy shit.
So keep an eye out for whatever our Instagram is called these days, and thanks for tuning in.
Bye.